Hello, welcome back to RetroBreak. In today's video, I'm very excited, if you haven't guessed already by the title, because I've got a lot of new Game Boy games to show you in this episode. And by a lot, I mean loads. There's a big stack here. I've got them from all different places over the past few months, and I've saved them all for this episode here. So I'm going to come back to these ones. These are a few Game Boy Color games that I've got. I'll start with the original Game Boy games. And the first one here we've got in the box is Crash Test Dummies, and it did come complete with the manual as well. If I show you there you go. I got these two yesterday actually from my favourite game shop, Entertainment World in Birmingham. If you haven't seen it already, I've made loads of videos about it in the past, so feel free to go back and have a look on the channel for a video about Entertainment World. Amazing shop. And I actually traded in a few other games that I'd got duplicates of and picked this up. And it seems like a fairly interesting game. The mission that I played had you jumping from the top of a building as a crash test dummy, and you had to avoid different obstacles on your way down and then crash into a target on the floor. So pretty interesting. Also from Entertainment World, I got 3 other original Game Boy games yesterday. They are Cliffhanger by Sony ImageSoft. This one seems like a fairly interesting platformer. It might be tied with a movie, I'm not entirely sure what Cliffhanger is, but if any of you guys have seen it before, let me know. I thought it played okay from what I've played so far. And the other 2 games, this one doesn't seem that great. This one's called Alien Olympics. And basically it's like a track and field style game, but instead of playing as humans, you, as the title suggests, you play as aliens. So nothing too exciting, but it's one game that I did need. And it's actually on the list of Game Boy games that I've got. This is the highest to the top of the list alphabetically, so I picked that one up. And there's a few more that I got just because they're right at the top of the alphabet as well, which I'll get to in a bit. And this last game here is probably the best one that I picked up at the shop. This one is Super Hunchback, starring Quasimodo. And this one seems like a really fun, if very, very simple platformer for the Game Boy, so really happy to have that. I did also pick up a few other games from Entertainment World, but I'm going to save them for a separate video in the future. Now this one I got from Kex, or CEX, as a lot of people like to call it. I'm not going to call it sex, no way. This one is the original Mortal Kombat on the Game Boy. I had already played this before in one of those multi-cart games, but I never enjoyed it enough to get my own copy. But when I saw it in Kex the other day for a really, really cheap price, I thought I might as well pick it up, one more to add to the collection. It is very, very simple. Obviously, it can't live up to the SNES or Mega Drive versions, as there's only 2 buttons, and as the Game Boy is an 8-bit system, you can't really do that much to make a good fighting game, but I think they did the best they could with the hardware and software that they had available at the time. So, a very interesting look into how developers downscaled console games at the time to fit onto the Game Boy, but it's not really worth playing today. But it is an interesting curiosity. Right, so these next 12 games here came in a big bundle that I got off eBay. None of the games are super exciting, but they were all ones that I needed on my path to getting a full UK set of Game Boy games. So I'm just going to quickly talk you through each one of these now. And there was actually a lot more, but like I said at the start, I traded those other games in to Entertainment World in order to get the few games that I've shown down there. So let's just go through this pile now quite quickly. Like I said, they're not too exciting. So the first one here is Kung Fu Master, another really simple fighting game. And this one's a bit weird. This is one of those multi-cart games. This one is 50 in one. And of course it has loads of different games, but actually there's only about 10 on there, and then they just start to repeat like all these other little hacked cartridges, so pretty interesting, but not great. Another game that's not great, I couldn't even manage to make one single point in this game. This is Top Rank in Tennis, and I don't know if it was just me not playing it properly or if the controls are just broken, but have a look at this gameplay and tell me that I'm doing something horribly wrong, because I just couldn't even get a game started on this. Awful game. This one, I don't really have anything to say about at all. This is just a wrestling game. If you want to know, it's WWF Superstars 2. There you go. Not very exciting. This one, unfortunately, is a fake because I don't actually have this one. It is Toy Story for the Game Boy, but as you can see up there, it doesn't have the Game Boy logo like the other carts do. Like if I compare it to that one, You can see it says Nintendo Game Boy on it, but the other one's just blank. It was also kind of a shame that this game didn't work, because out of all the ones that I picked up, this was the only one that had support for the Super Game Boy, with the different borders around the outside. And a bit like Mortal Kombat, it's also a really interesting look into how the developers took a 16-bit game and tried to downscale it onto an 8-bit system. And I think they did quite a good job. The next game here, this one seems kind of interesting. It's got a Zelda-style map, but I really couldn't get very far into it. It's called Dr. Franken, and I presume you play as Frankenstein. And you're going around a mansion and trying to find your way through it, basically. Interesting game, but not great. This one is just a baseball game with a weird title. It's called Big Hurt for some reason. Must be the name of one of the players. Not really sure about this one. And I'm not sure if it actually came out in the UK either, because it says EUR on it, so it's not officially part of my collection. This one here is All-Star Challenge 2 Basketball, and this one isn't a UK one either, and it's by LJN, so not great. This one is Monopoly, don't really have anything to say about that. This one's called Pugsley's Scavenger Hunt, and this one actually seems like quite a fun platformer. Of course, part of the Addams family, so that one was alright. This one is... yeah, I just threw it away because that's how I feel about this game. This one is definitely the worst out of the bunch. This one's called On the Tiles, and you know those horrible little games that you used to have when you were a kid where there's a little grid to move around and one of the squares is empty and you have to make a picture? It's just that on the Game Boy, and I always hated those kind of games. And the last one I've got in this set off eBay is called The Humans. It seems like a kind of Lemmings-inspired game, but I really couldn't figure out what to do. Have a look at this gameplay now and see what I was doing wrong. There's two different options. One of them makes your characters put their hands in the air, and the other one didn't seem to do anything. And you can select the different characters and move them around, but all I could do was move them to the edge of the bit they were standing in, and then they were just stuck, because there was a wall there. So I really didn't know what to do at all, so I gave up pretty quickly. But let me know if it's worth going back to if you've ever played it before. So that was it for all the ones that I got off that bundle on eBay. Now, there's another game that I got separately, and like I said at the start, this was just one to bring up the top of the list. This one is simply called 4-in-1 Fun Pack, and it's basically just a collection of different board games. Chess, backgammon, checkers, and reversey, I think. Can't quite see on there. I tried the chess game, it seems okay, but nothing special. And this game here, well, there's two games left, and I've saved the best till last. This one here is called Zen Intergalactic Ninja, and this one's actually a really fun action platformer. I'd never even heard of this one before, so when I found this one, I think I got it from Kex as well. When I found this, I was very excited to play it and actually find out that it was a really good game as well. So if you'd like to see more about this game in the future, I could possibly do a separate review on it, if that's something that you guys would be interested in. So let me know down in the comments below if you'd like to see a full video on this game in the future, and I'll try and make that happen. And definitely saving the best till last. I got this one from Birmingham MCM last month from Revival Games. A great guy, he knows me well by now, and he brought out a big box of Game Boy games for me to look through. Unfortunately, I already had all them, but there was one sitting right at the top of his stall which I didn't have, and it's one that I've been looking for a long time. And I'm going to finish this video on a high note, that is Kid Dracula. A fantastic kind of spin-off of the Castlevania series, which is very much a cartoonified version of Castlevania. And you basically play as a little kid Dracula, and you're going around different challenges, different puzzle levels. It kind of is the perfect Game Boy game. The levels are really short, there's a few different power-ups, it plays really well, it has fantastic graphics and fantastic music. Like I said about the Zen game there, if you want to see a full video on this game in the future, please let me know, because I'd be happy to do that if you guys would be interested in seeing some gameplay and my thoughts and opinions on the game. Let me know in the comments below. And just before we wrap this video up, I thought I'd take a quick look at the Game Boy Color games that I got as well. I haven't got any gameplay for these, so I'm just going to quickly whiz through them. There's nothing really exciting there. The first one is Freestyle Scooter, and the only reason I picked this one up is because I remember it being shown off in the Action GBX magazine back in the day. The next one is Beauty and the Beast, a board game adventure. No idea if that's any good or not. These ones also came in that eBay lot that I talked about earlier, and they've also got someone's name on the back. So if you know someone called Bethan Ruth Roberts, thank you for all your old Game Boy Color games. This one is Looney Tunes Twirble. So there's that. There's Ant, I'm sure that's amazing. There's also Barbie's Ocean Discovery and Tasmanian Devil Munch Madness. So that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed having a look at some of my latest pickups. So as you know, I'm trying to get a full set of UK Game Boy games, and after adding all these games that I've picked up here into my spreadsheet, there are a total of 435 games that were released for the original Game Boy in the UK. So that's the figure that I'm aiming for. And overall, I have, according to Backloggery, 269 games. So I'm more than halfway there, just about, but I've got a long way to go. And I'll definitely be doing more update videos in the future when I get closer to completing my collection. So thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to comment, subscribe, check out my Patreon and Ko-fi, links are in the description. And as always, I'll see you next week for the next episode. Goodbye!